This episode of the Home Pros Radio Show podcast is brought to you by HomeBinder, the premier home management app. Receive home maintenance reminders, organize your home's inventory, manage your home improvement projects, and more. Stay tuned to get a free upgrade code for HomeBinder worth over $200.
The Home Pros Radio Show.
I'm Tommy Donovan with RIC Home Inspections, and this is the Home Pros Radio Show podcast. Coming up in this episode, we'll be talking about reverse polarity. What is it and why it's a danger that may be hiding in your home's electrical system? We'll help a listener who has questions about polybutylene piping in his home. And we'll share a visit from a fellow radio show host who dropped in on us to solve our closing contractor mystery sound. Plus, what does this have to do with maintaining your home? We'll find out shortly, but first we go to our RIC Home Inspections photo from the field. Check out the photo in the show description of this podcast as my co-host Shane Hips and I discuss this potential hazard I found hiding in one homeowner's attic.
If you're at home, hopefully you've pulled up the Facebook. That's what they call it these days. The kids, they call it the Facebook.
The Facebook?
Yeah, on the Facebook.
Like the Walmart?
Yeah.
The Walmart?
Yeah. If you get on Facebook, at Home Pros Radio, you'll find this.
The RIC Home Inspections photo from the field.
What are you looking at? I know what I'm doing.
Did you see that?
Mm-hmm. And this is from an inspection I did this week. I got out of the attic and I was like, congratulations, I said to my clients. You're the winners of the photo from the field. And the reason why I wanted to share this is, anybody have any ideas? I know Shane does. What's going on there?
The exhaust that's not attached.
Yeah, the exhaust flue is not attached. It's sitting in the attic, and it's been that way for quite some time. I don't know how long, but definitely needs to be fixed. And that's why I said it's a good thing that the owner of this furnace, it's a good thing for that owner that this is July.
Right.
Because if you're running that furnace, you're going to be dumping carbon monoxide into the house.
Right.
Which is not good. So, just to get an idea. Last week we were talking about if you go in your crawl space, here are the things to look for, like, the stringy insulation and things like that. Give you ideas of indications of moisture issues. Well, when you're up in the attic, look at the furnace and look at things like the flue. Because if you don't attach that flue, if it's not attached, it can become a very dangerous situation. You know why?
Because carbon monoxide would dump in your attic.
You get the flu.
Thank you, Scout. Thank you.
Yeah, saving us.
We shift our focus to your electrical system now to discuss a common shock hazard that could be created by homeowners who attempt to perform their own wiring repairs. It's called reverse polarity, and the tricky thing is it may be present in your outlet circuits without you even being aware of it. To keep this from happening to you, Shane and I break down the design of your electrical outlet circuits and explore why reverse polarity can present a danger in your home.
There are all kinds of things that, even the most well-intentioned homeowner can goof up on.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say screw up on. Well, but I just said it anyway. But like for this example, right? So I was in a house, I was inspecting, checked an outlet above the microwave. My tester read reverse polarity. So I wrote it up, recommended an electrician repair it. Funny call I got earlier this week from the realtor involved. She's like, what do I do? We requested that be fixed, but the homeowner is like, well, what's the deal? Microwave's working, and I work at GE, so I know what I'm doing. It's like, maybe not.
Yeah. There's still issues with that one as well.
Yeah. So, the most well-intentioned engineer or whatever, I understand that you know your stuff and you do well at that, but there are reasons why we have building codes, and there are reasons why, when you read those instructions, the other guy's opinion, that things are designed the way they are. So what's the deal with reverse polarity? Why is that an issue? Well, the issue is that it's a shock hazard. Do you want to take a stab at this, how to explain polarity?
Well, basically, in an outlet, the hot wire, what is considered the hot wire, is the power coming to the device or whatever it is that is working. Mm-hmm. The neutral is the return wire back to the panel. You have to have both for anything to work.
Couldn't have to be connected. It's kind of like going back to that science fair project. How does the switch work? And the light bulb turns on when you make the connection.
Mm-hmm.
So you're hot. is the power coming in. Or if you're looking at an electrical circuit, it's the black wire.
Yes.
Black or red, usually.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the neutral wire, which completes a circuit and goes back to the electrical panel. Mm-hmm. That's your neutral, or also known as the grounded and ungrounded conductor, right?
Right.
So the hot is the ungrounded conductor, and the neutral is the grounded, mainly because that neutral connection, when it goes back to the meter,
goes to ground.
Yes.
Yes.
Connected to a ground.
And so basically, in either way they are hooked up, the thing, whatever it is, will work. You can absolutely
completing the circuit.
Yeah, if something is reverse polarity, that means in no way means it's not going to work, because it will still work as long as both are hooked up. But like you said, the safety factor is like, for instance, the hot is what goes to the switches and all. And if you happen to switch a neutral, and like if I have a light switch turned off and I want to replace that light. If the neutral is switched, that means I got the neutral turned off, but that hot wire is still going to that box where I'm replacing that light. And then if I touch that hot and the ground at the same time, I just got shocked. There are reasons for the polarity to be correct, and it's safety. Another thing is, you think about a basic light socket, the metal round part that the threads of a light bulb screws into. That's your neutral. The pin at the very back of that socket is your hot.
Okay.
So if you crisscross those two, you have a much better possibility of touching that round part where you're putting the bulb in than that pin at the very back. You would have to intentionally reach back there to touch that pin at the back.
Make it live.
Yeah. So there are reasons for polarity to be correct.
Mm-hmm. Anybody ever been told growing up by your parents or somebody, don't stick that knife in the toaster? Like if your bread's stuck in the toaster.
Yeah.
Right?
I think we've all heard that one.
Yeah. Well, the reason being is if that toaster is plugged in to a reversed polarity outlet, you're going to get shocked.
Right.
Because what happens is the switch on the toaster, if you turn the toaster on, that generally, if you think about current running through an appliance like a toaster, when you turn that switch on, that energizes the elements in the toaster. Well, if you turn that switch off, if you push the button up, they're not energized. Well, if the polarity is reversed, whether that button is pushed up or down, the elements in the toaster are going to be live. There's going to be current. So if you stick that knife in, you're gone. Not gone.
As long as you're grounded.
You get zapped.
Which there's many ways to get grounded. Yeah, as soon as you ground yourself, you got it.
Mm-hmm. So, interesting.
Huh? So there is a reason for it, a method for the madness, or a meaning for the madness.
Even if you do work at GE. I'm looking at my niece because her dad works at GE. So.
All right. She's taking offense over here, giving you the evil eye.
Need some help with determining how to find reverse polarity conditions in your electrical outlets? Well, that discussion is on the rundown in one of our upcoming podcasts, so be on the lookout for that episode. To be notified of the episode as soon as it's released, be sure to subscribe to our podcast or simply download the Home Pros Radio Show app. We'll have more on that amazing feature coming up later in this episode. But for right now, I hear our baby crying, so let's get to our next segment as we learn an important home maintenance lesson with this audio cue.
What does this have to do with home maintenance? We're finally, after teasing it for 2 weeks, we're going to get to it. All right, so what does that have to do with home improvement, home maintenance?
I think you're going toward weep holes.
Oh, yeah. What'd you call me? Weeping. Well, is your home weeping? Is your home shedding water like it should? You know, I had a client earlier this week who was like, this is a vinyl house around the outlets, switches, and a couple things on the outside. He didn't like the way the vinyl trim was wrapped around those siding penetrations. He was worried about water getting in behind.
Right.
And I'm like, well, I don't know how to fix that because that's how these are designed. Water will get behind. And as I said before on the show, a house is supposed to, have you ever seen a wet duck? Do they ever
it's in the water at the time?
Do they ever look wet? Well, see, they're always in the water. The reason why they never look wet is because they shed water so well. And that's the way our houses should work. It's okay to get water in and behind, but how well do we get it out? And how do we get that water out from behind the siding?
Oh, are you asking me that? Yeah, weep holes.
Shane loves watching the show.
You have weep holes. And most in many parts of a house, there are weep holes, which are basically holes put at the bottom of whatever the product is. So if water does get in, it gets out rather than just sitting in there. Like on the bottom of vinyl siding, there would be holes.
On windowsills.
Windowsills.
If you ever open up your window and you see water just sitting in the sill, it's a good sign that your weep hole's probably clogged. Right?
Yeah, you might want to look around, and if there's dirt and debris all in there, especially after fall, you have leaves fall and then they rot. I mean, they'll clog the weep holes, and then next thing you know, you got water standing in the windowsill, then it's coming through on the inside and then rot out the windowsill on the inside. Yeah.
So, with all the rain we've been having, you've been noticing some issues with some homes, right?
Yeah, I'd ran into some weep hole problems on windows. I've seen it in the siding, and I've seen it on, say, foundation walls or backfilled walls, like at the end of a carport. Because I've seen some where the walls are actually, so much pressure from the water has been pushing against the wall. The walls have actually separated from the corner a little bit where they turned, just because.
You'll see horizontal cracks in a retaining wall that's not draining right or something like that, where it's bowing outward.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. I couldn't think of the word retaining wall. I was like, what am I trying to say? But yeah, what it is, if anywhere that you have water that can stand and continually push on a wall, it's going to need weep holes in it. There needs some kind of way to get that pressure off of that wall, because if not, you're not going to have a wall. Pretty much, it's going to fall over, and then you got a big mess to clean up. But, weep holes are definitely something to keep an eye out and understand how they work. As far as for retaining walls, what all it's doing can alter where the weep holes need to be. So you sort of have to look at it and think it through where it's necessary. Because there's some circumstances where the weep holes should be toward the top above a slab. But there's somewhere it should all absolutely be at the bottom, because that water's going to seep all the way down, and you need it to come out at the bottom. Because if you put it at the top and the water can get down past the weep holes, now it's not doing anything. So
that's true.
Just depends.
Yeah. Sometimes you might have a retaining wall that is holding up a walkway. So you have a sidewalk where you want that water to drain off the sidewalk and maybe through the retaining wall. Things like these weep holes, whether it's in brick or siding, don't be so thrown back if you're walking around the exterior home and you see water draining out of holes. Sometimes that might be by design, right?
Your home's not leaking.
Yeah. Just like I was trying to explain to this one homeowner this week was, if water gets behind the siding at these little areas around this trim, look up at the siding. See the bottom where you have these little teeny holes? Like if you have vinyl siding, you should see them. The little teeny tiny holes, those are designed to help that water shed from behind the siding and leak out, so you don't have damage.
Right.
This episode of the Home Pros Radio Show podcast is sponsored by HomeBinder. There is no better way to organize paint colors and home documents, get maintenance reminders, receive email alerts of appliance recalls, and share valuable information about your home with potential buyers. For a limited time, use promo code HOMEPROSRadio, all one word, to upgrade to our premium edition for the life of your ownership. Visit us online at homebinder.com or simply click on the link provided in the show description of this podcast. HomeBinder, a homeowner's best friend.
We go from good water leaks in the weep holes we discussed earlier to not so good water leaks. And a text question we received on the air from a listener who's running into some issues with polybutylene piping.
Exactly. Oh, look, we've got a text. Ben in Union. My house has the gray water pipe that has been banned because of it leaking, and I now have leaks upstairs and worried about the whole house. How hard would it be to replumb a 2-story house? And a price estimate. Go ahead, give them an estimate right now over the phone.
It depends.
There you go.
That's the good answer. It depends.
That's it.
No, honestly, it is. I mean, it would be
correct answer.
I want a price back.
Yeah.
It really does. I mean, that's the only, you'd have to be out there to look at it to see how it was plumbed, to see where everything is, and how many walls you have to open, and there's a lot of different variables there.
Mm-hmm. And I'm assuming it says gray water pipe, not necessarily gray water, like wastewater. I think he's talking about polybutylene
Right.
Yeah, because it's gray.
Mm-hmm.
And the issue with that, Ben, is just it depends on how much chlorine is added to your water supply, because those pipes have been known to deteriorate from the inside out because of it. Ben, if you're running into issues, and if the home is probably, I would say at least at this point, based on the material used, it's got to be 20 years old. If it's taken this long, it may just be the connections. So it may not necessarily be the pipe itself, but
it's possible, but it may be right at the edge of the wall right now, about to bust through. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
It is.
So I'm always trying to look at things the glass half full. But I heard this once, and it was a comparison to replacing your plumbing lines is kind of like the expense is similar to recarpeting your house, reflooring your house. It's usually around, if you go by square footage, it's around the same price.
I could see that, but the only thing is with plumbing lines, you may have to open up some walls, which means you have to repair those, and ceilings and floors. Maybe you got to take up the carpet, take up the subfloor to put it back in. So it depends.
Yeah,
I'm just always going back to that.
But hey, Ben, shoot us an email. Send us an email through our website at homeprosradio.com, and we'll get some contact information from you. And then maybe we can follow up with you on that, because we'd love to help out and try to get you some more concrete answers on that. So I hope that helps.
Finally, in this episode, we have our closing contractor mystery sound, which listeners were having some trouble solving one weekend because our phone lines were down. No need to fear, though, as one of our fellow WGTK radio hosts, Mike Miller from Talking Money, took a moment away from his show prep to step into the studio and save the day.
The closing contractor mystery sound.
This was a fun one to record this week. But I can't tell the story.
Were you actually getting anything done while you're doing it, or just no?
I was looking like I was busy. I was trying to look like I was doing what I was supposed to. What could that possibly be? I'm really surprised no one's showing us.
I'm going to blame it on the phone system.
Huh?
I'm going to blame it on the phone.
I think Mike knows what it is. I can tell by the look on his face. He's going to come in here and ruin our party. What is it?
The weed whacker.
Oh! Very good. What'd you call me? No, he got it. Very good. Very nice.
That's all I would call you now.
Yeah. Well, we did have somebody actually call in earlier, but something
happened with the phone. We're not sure what happened.
So
I'll give them the prize then.
Yeah. Well, that's very nice. We'll have to do that. What are you talking about today on your show?
I don't think you want to hear about this.
So
we're talking about taking keys away from an older person, a parent.
That's sad.
Have you guys ever had that?
The car?
To do with that?
There's a car, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
at first I was thinking the house. I was like, why would
we're
you do
kicking
that?
you out.
Well, what about the car? Have you ever had to do that?
I think there's a certain point in time that may be a good idea. I've never had to do it, but I've
had to do it.
Oh.
So we're going to be talking about that. So I got some interesting stories, and we're going to see if we can get some good advice from the listeners. That's coming up in about 15 minutes on Talking Money.
All right. Well, so everybody, if you need a pick me up in about 15 minutes,
you're about taking keys, bro.
You know, at the Home Pros Radio Show, we're giving you the key to the most informative and entertaining home improvement information available anywhere. It's the Home Pros Radio Show app. It's free on iTunes and Google Play. Download the app onto your mobile device and you'll have all the latest home improvement and repair topics you need right at your fingertips. It's never been easier or more fun to be a well-informed homeowner. So get immediate notifications of our latest episodes. You can like, share, and comment on what you hear right on the Home Pros Radio Show app. Now available for your iPhone and iPad or Android device. Download it now at the iTunes App Store and on Google Play. For my co-host Shane Hips with Closing Contractor, I'm Tommy Donovan with RIC Home Inspections. We appreciate you joining us, and we'll catch you next time on the Home Pros Radio Show podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Home Pros Radio Show. If you have a question for the Home Pros, visit us online at homeprosradio.com, where you can contact us directly and also learn more about the topics and guests we bring to you each week. It's the Home Pros Radio Show online at homeprosradio.com or on the radio at 94.5 WGTK, The Answer.